gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's your boy Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you like we do each and every week on a Friday morning, where I feature nonprofit organizations, their leadership, their supporters, their teams, to help them tell their story and amplify their message. I love to do that. I'm passionate about this nonprofit sector. And when I really think about it, and I kind of dial it back, and I think in terms of what the work is about, when I think about service and I think about veterans and I think about the work that the veterans do to protect us, to serve, and really take care of us as a country, and really us as a planet for that matter, and all of our people, I really don't think that the veterans are getting the service and the coverage and the protection that they need after they serve our country. And I spent the whole month of July bringing nonprofit organizations on that serve our veterans. And this week and again next week, we're going to be talking about it. And it's March, but we're doing this. Man, listen, if I did a show every week talking about veterans and talking about the nonprofit organizations that serve our veterans, I probably would still have many, many more that I'd need to meet with, even if I did this show strictly around veteran nonprofits. So today I've never had this many guests on the show at one time. I have 4 guests. This is what's good. I'm in the attic, but this is virtual, right? So not everybody's in my attic. Because to be honest with you, men, I don't think all 5 of us would fit in my attic. The attic is not that big. I forgot to tell you guys something. Just hit the unmute button. Come off mute so we can hear your voices, so we get you into the conversation real quick. Everybody do that, please. And I'll see those shining lights go on when you're no longer on mute. Ed, I see you. Ed, I want you to introduce Operation Warrior Shield. Now, we're going to be talking veterans. We have some great friends on the call with us today. I want you to start us off. I want you to talk about the organization. We're going to talk about the support work that the organization is doing. I told you right before we got started what you shared with me last week about the work around PTSD and transcendental meditation and things like that. Very exciting work. I've seen it in action. I studied transcendental meditation myself. Maybe you could start us off about the organization, your service work. I can go in and read everybody's bios and things like that, but I feel it's best if you do that. So can you tell us your story as a retired veteran and the work you're doing with this organization, please, sir?
Well, thank you so very much, Tommy, to give us the opportunity to speak to your large followers and stuff like that, because it's very important to be supported by the community. And, I'm a Marine Vietnam veteran. I served 28 years after the Vietnam War with the New York National Guard, retired as Chief Master Sergeant. And when my neighbor was killed in Fallujah in 2006, I helped the Marines Semper Fi Fund to get back into helping these poor guys coming back in pretty bad shape. And the VA was nowhere around to help them. And I started to get involved in 2006 and worked with the David Lynch Foundation in 2010 to bring meditation as a cure for a lot of the toxic stress that veterans and first responders witness due to an experience. And of course, we all can, whether a civilian or not, can all relate to a dramatic situation that lays up with you every night. But unfortunately, serving in a combat zone, these nightmares come back every night at 2:30 in the morning, and they stick with you. And you need to have a great family around you to be supportive, and you need a good organization, but you need the tools to fight this. And that's why I'm so proud to have 2 new friends come and help us spread the word on March 21st at Ben and Jack's Steakhouse. And the theme is Knockout PTSD, with 2 great champions of the boxing world. And by the way, my father was the 1936 New York Golden Glove champion, as well as was a sparring partner for Jimmy Braddock. And so it really brings back some strong memories of my father and his boxing career. I would like right now to quickly introduce one of the great new supporters of Operation Warrior Shield, because he has to run to do a very important job, which is Monty Barrett. If you don't take care of your wife, nothing works well. And if you don't take care of your mind, nothing works well either.
I
But
love it. I love it.
Monty,
Yes,
jump
sir.
in on here and say hello, because we want to let you have a happy wife and a happy life.
But Marty,
Yes.
before you do that, I want you to have a happy wife and a happy life too. But I want to read this. Former American boxer, competed from 1996 to 2014. New York Hall of Fame boxer, champion, won the WBC Continental Championship in '99, WBA, WBO Asian Pacific, WBO Oriental Heavyweight in 2011. Accolades upon accolades. I'm glad you're my friend. That's all I'll say.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And to be honest with you, like, I think that I know PTSD is real. I know it because I think that the veterans, and I've been around a lot of veterans. I moved to South Carolina. I did a speaking engagement at Fort Jackson, and I got a chance to meet up with a lot of active military forces, and they was like telling me their experience. And I met a couple of people that told me that they suffer from PTSD, and it's a real thing. And I think that it's something that really goes unsaid, and I think it's something and especially in the Black community, as far as a lot of things that as growing up you deal with it, and people don't even realize it exists, but it does. And it's something that really we gotta tackle head on. And how do we do that? So we got to learn how to identify with it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, thank you for your candor and thank you for sharing that. And I'll tell you something, man, about trauma. And I think I might have said to some of the guys here when we had a meeting a couple weeks back. I had another veteran on my show from an organization out of South Jersey, Philadelphia area called Project Refit. And they do a real, just so supportive of the veteran community. But a guy called Dan Lombard, who I had on the show, he sort of said to me, and I don't remember how the conversation went in this direction, but he was consoling me because I said something like, I almost felt bad that I get down and I get sad and I get depressed on certain things. And he was just like, Tommy D, everybody's got their different trauma. Now, I'm not comparing what, civilian life is like compared to, what veterans see certainly in a combat situation. But like, I think we need to, when we talk about mental health and we talk about stress, we need to realize that this is a human situation and everybody's dealing with different things. And even Monty, you're just talking about from, you mentioned the Black community there, as men, period, we're not supposed to say we're hurt, boys don't cry, right? Toughen up, walk it off. I mean, even as a 45-year-old man, I've heard myself say that to my own sons. Well, walk it off. But those are things that stay with us. We are emotional beings. We need to outlet. So sorry to take that away, but that's what I was hearing you say, man.
But that's true. It's true. It's very true. I mean, and Ed and I had a great conversation as well last week. So I mean, it's just something that one of my business partners, she's an Army vet. She's been for 20 plus years, and she's suffering from PTSD. But she had let it be known. She does a lot of volunteer work for the soldiers, and I'm right now I'm in the middle of working on open up an opioid recovery center for veterans and also for civilians. But the other part that I'm doing, I'm having beds. We having just a space for veterans to have beds, because it's a lot of veterans, they don't get the best treatment possible.
Yeah.
So, I've been working on this in Columbia, South Carolina, and we should be, up and running probably by September of this year.
Congratulations for that, man. And look, no one needs to get involved with this. People do this because they want and they care. I think we do have the responsibility to get involved, but I'm just saying, it takes volunteerism, it takes service work, it takes philanthropy, it takes that concern for the other man, the other woman, the other child. That's what this is all about. Monty, I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you being here. And I'll tell you, that's the 21st, Ed, right? Shout out the event again on the 21st.
At Ben and Jack's Steakhouse on East 44th Street in Manhattan. Everyone could, we'll talk about this later on.
Yeah.
How to contact us to get tickets, but we're ready.
Yeah. And Monty, you're going to be there that day too?
Yeah, myself and Zab Judah. And Ed, and I didn't I think I told you, Ed, my stepfather served. He served for like 12 years, and my biological father, he served for like 20 years. So, it's like it's a thing like, everybody think they tough until they got some gunshots going across it's real.
Yeah.
I mean it's real. So these guys don't really understand in the streets what veterans and the people that serve us really, how they really, what they go through. It's a lot. So imagine seeing your friends killed, seeing the people you love getting blown up, all that stuff. You gotta embody that, you know what I'm saying? And you don't have nowhere to dump it off. And
Monty, we started out with veterans and active duty people, but then I started to get really involved with the epidemic of first responder suicide. And I tell you, it's just heartbreaking, the divorce rate that's in the first responders community. And, I'm working very closely with NYPD and their efforts to build more resilient cops and doing all that stuff. And you're going to meet them all on the 21st at Benajak Steakhouse.
You are good at selling an event. And I got to tell you, man, that's like, we got it in 3 times in the first segment, the March 21st event. But I will be there thanks to my friend, MJ Padone, who introduced all of us about that event. Go ahead, Monty, jump in.
What I was going to say, like God put me in this space, right, to serve. Before I was serving, and I didn't know I didn't know I was serving. But now this part of my life is very intentional, right? So however I can serve and be at my best, I'm gonna do it. And even when I'm not at my best, I'm gonna give my service, So any way I can help for any situation, especially for the armed forces, because like I said, that's special to me. I talked to over 500 plus soldiers, and there was a mind, body, spirit, holistic approach. And my part of it was visualization, because a lot of the new soldiers are, the staff sergeants and the sergeants are having a lot of problems building good soldiers now, because they can't identify with one another. You know what I'm saying? So you got to visualize that you won the fight already. You got to visualize, and you got to push forward, even when times get hard. And when it looks like there's no way out, you got to visualize you being victorious. And they was dealing with a lot of that. So my whole thing was my experience as a boxer and a champion and a Hall of Famer. How did I visualize when I was in those tough fights?
Wow.
And I was on the floor. So a few times I got knocked down, but I got back up. And that's where it is. It's not about getting knocked down. It's about getting back up and moving.
Yes.
Monty, this is all of this work that we're going to be doing is not by accident. This is God's plan. God has a plan to put us together. And when you know that the majority of the fighting force are under 21 years old,
the babies, right?
Still not even cultivated.
No, they're babies, and the frontal cortex hasn't even developed fully for maybe another 5 years, right? And you're putting them in this battle zone, in this combat. We got to pause because we got to take a quick break. But before we pause, I want to say what's up, Michael Watts. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. I'm doing incredible, man. I'm just jazzed to have you guys with me. Zab Judah's with us in the room too. We'll get to Zab. Zab, when we come back from break, we're going to talk to you, Michael, and we're going to get it going. We're taking a 90-second break. This is Philanthropy and Focus. Your boy Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector. Right back.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
That's right. Cut through the static. Doing your boy Tommy D in the attic. I mean, but like, don't show up at my house. Like, don't really come to my attic. Just like plug into the show, watch me on the Facebook, listen on talkradio.nyc. All right, let's get back into it. The organization is called Operation Warrior Shield. My friends in the room with me, Michael Watts and Ed Schloman. And I just, Michael, we want to get you into this conversation. You know, I really want to do it. So we're going to do it right now in this segment, but I want to read this right off of the website. Gang, this is where you check it out, operationwarriorshield.com. I'm going to read this. Operation Warrior Shield provides comprehensive support programs for service members, veterans, first responders, and their families that are focused on transition, health and wellness, employment, prevention of homelessness, which is an absolute tragedy that there should be veterans homeless. Gang, I don't understand that how anybody is homeless, that we allow this. I stopped right in the middle of what I was reading. Let me go back. Prevention of homelessness, peer engagement, and connections to community resources. They have an emphasis on helping to heal the inner wounds through helping veterans find jobs, eliminating homelessness, teaching transcendental meditation, community-based holistic programs, and a companion dog assistance program. Ed, introduce Michael, because I know he's a friend of yours, and I want him to be a friend of mine. I hope you will, Mr. Watts. So I'm glad I met you guys. Ed, take it away.
Well, along the way, my good friend MJ Perdone, who could not make it here today, and my hat's off to MJ, but she introduced me to another Marine, which you're going to hear a little bit about him now. But he's become part of my family. I just love him for what he has been helping me with, coming to my galas, being a successful photographer. But more importantly, he's taking care of my little grandchild, Connie. And I'll let him talk a little bit about Operation K9 Companion and his wonderful companion dog, Connie.
Take it away, Michael, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. And one of the things I spent 6 years in the United States Marine Corps. And during my period of time I was in the military, I'm not a combat veteran. That's one thing that I have to make sure that I'm not a combat veteran, but one thing we have to understand is that not just combat veterans suffer from PTSD. We suffer from PTSD through some of the training that we've been through and some of the things that we go through because of our superiors, because of injuries that we suffer. You know, a lot of the injuries, they play a big role on what's going to happen to you for the rest of your life. I suffer from I feel that my PTSD is from the training that I had, and one of the things that I'm going through right now is dealing with the Camp Lejeune water contamination, because there's things going on inside of my body that I could never explain in over 30 years. Come to find out that we would drink, while I was stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, we were drinking water that was contaminated by the base cleaners. And the water had been contaminated from 1965 to 1982. And my tenure in the Marine Corps at Camp Lejeune was in 1975. I spent 6 months there eating the food that was prepared in the water, taking showers prepared in the water, and constantly drinking water because of our physical conditioning and everything. So I've had like these issues about these dreams and these nightmares, and a lot of it doesn't have to do with combat. It has to do with the life that you live after military service. That affects you a lot. And I got involved in photography because it settled me. I got involved in photography because it was something that I enjoyed, that I could do to actually focus on life and capturing life and being able to go and do things with my camera that people can look back after I'm gone and say, wow, this was great. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of my military brothers. A lot of my military brothers, when I was in the service, we were very, very close. When you're in the Marine Corps, we spend so much time together that you just become more than family. Yeah. And when something happens to one of these guys, it's devastating. I had a young trooper that I still have major nightmares about. I had a young guy, when I was a sergeant stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina, one of the major things that I have nightmares about is I had a young trooper who had just graduated from boot camp, and he had saved all of his money, and one of the things he wanted to do was to buy a motorcycle. Well, he went and he bought a motorcycle, and the very first day that he had that motorcycle, he was messing around in the front of the barracks, and he hit the accelerator. The motorcycle took off, and the next thing you know, there was a major accident where he hit a car, and the force actually threw him and the motorcycle underneath a Pinto. I don't know if you guys know what a Pinto is, but it's this tiny little car, and his body and to witness that and to see that, the nightmares that I have besides when that happened was almost comparable to that when I served. While I was serving, and even I can think about it now, and I can still see that whole accident happening. It's just.
Thank you for your candor and for sharing these stories, and thank you for thank you for your service. Thank you for serving this country. And thank you for the work you're doing now, which is continuing to have these conversations, which is highlighting and spotlighting that we need to do more. We as a society need to do more for our veterans. We need to do more for each other from a mental health perspective, but specifically for our veterans. The Camp Lejeune thing, I'm familiar with it because it's on the radio all the time now. I guess who's advertising for it is probably law firms. I'm assuming advertising. Is that right? It's probably the law firm saying if you were ever at Camp Lejeune.
It's all the law firms.
All the law firms, right?
I too was stationed in Camp Lejeune, and I have a lot of my insides removed because of that. But that's a whole different story. Michael, where is my Connie?
Where's Connie?
Connie. This is Connie. Connie has been like amazing. I'll tell you, this animal has converted me from a maniac, overthinking. It's like everything that I was doing is like subsided since I got this dog. This dog is like my best friend. Connie, the amazing thing about Connie and with this dog is that, and this is really important, when that dog sees me, when I'm sitting in my chair and I'm having anxiety or I'm feeling depressed or something, the dog can be sitting, she sits right next to me all the time, and she's always in contact with me. Her paw may be on my foot, her head may be leaning against my leg. And if she feels anything, she will get up and come between my legs and jump up in the chair and start beating me with her paws. And when she's beating me with her paws, she's telling me, look, pay attention to me. Don't think about what's going on inside your head. I want you to think about me. Look, I'm looking you in your face. Don't you like that? This is fun. And then And she will continue to do that until she feels that I've calmed down and I've settled. And then she'll sit down and she'll go get her peanut butter calm, and she'll give me the peanut butter calm, and she'll want me to go put peanut butter in it. I will put peanut butter in it, and then she'll sit down and she'll go through her thing. And that's what she does. She basically has helped me to deal with a lot of these little stresses and this anxiety that I've been going through that has basically almost destroyed my career.
Yeah,
How-
you know, Tommy,
Yeah.
Connie was named after Lieutenant Colonel Justin Constantine, who was terribly wounded in Fallujah. And he unfortunately passed away last year from prostate cancer. And he was a gifted speaker, even though terribly wounded.
I met him. I told you when we met last week, and I wanted you to bring up his name, and I'm glad you did. I met him. He was a really sweetheart of a man, great man. I mean, incredible story. I met him through an organization, New York City SHRM. He was a keynote speaker at a SHRM event.
Yep.
He had a book on educating employers how to hire veterans. And I got to tell you something, and this may sound naive, but it wasn't till I heard Justin speak that again, maybe I'm just naive, but looking back on it, it sounds kind of silly, but I thought the majority of veterans saw combat. But in fact, it's not the majority of veterans that actually in a forward line or in a combat zone, right? There's so many other roles and responsibilities and careers, right? Michael, you're going to jump in.
That's right. That's right. There's a lot of veterans out here who didn't serve in combat, but a lot of people don't understand. We go through a lot of brainwashing and the mental things that we go through in our training changes you. It changes you. And when you get out of the military, trying to convert back to a normal civilian is not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. And people don't understand that. No matter how, a lot of times we can go through the therapy. We go through the therapy. Like I love going to therapy. I love being able to get some of the things out that bother me, so that this way because I contemplated suicide. I went through the whole suicidal thing, and I know what that's like to want to have to take your life because of the way that you feel. And I'm the type of person where I will go out of my way to help anybody. I ended up homeless for 3 years because I helped someone. And I ended up getting screwed over, and I ended up homeless for 3.5 years. But I could, that alone was added to the PTSD that I was going.
Yeah, Michael, I mean, I can't say it enough. I appreciate your story because you're sharing it, and I hope it's as helpful as you for sharing it as it is for others listening to it, because I think it's cathartic. It helps people connect and see the humanity. And I mean, thank you. We're going to take a quick break in a second, but before we do that, I just want to thank you both for being here. I feel like that the connection with you both in so many different ways because of the Justin Constantine story, our friend Robin Canariato, we're connected that way. We're connected in so many different ways, guys, but isn't that what it's all about? We're all connected. We're supposed to be helping each other out. So I think, Michael, you want to say something before we go to break?
What I wanted to say is, like, to help, what has got me over the hump and what has got me to feel better is not just Connie, but it's the ability, knowing that I have the ability to help my brothers and sisters, the firemen, the police. Now learn from what I've gone through. I'm expressing to you from my heart what I went through, and I want to be able to help people who are going through that, to help them understand there's nothing wrong with you. You're human. You're human. And that part is the part that you have to really understand, because I have been, like, the thing with Monty and these guys, I know we're getting ready to go to a break, but Monty and Zah, I'm so glad that you guys are going to be there, because you guys are fighters. And the theme for this event, I'd like to think, is about fighting. It's about fighting, and fighting, because I fought all my life. I fought while I was in the Marine Corps. I didn't go to combat, but there was things I had to fight. I had to fight when I got out of the Marine Corps to deal with civilians. It was always a fight. I've always had to fight for income and everything like that, even though I had like these incredible talents. You know, with my agency, I had to fight with my agency because some of the photographers, they just felt like I just wasn't good enough. And I couldn't command these type of assignments. But I did end up working for Mariah Carey. I ended up working for Billy Joel. I ended up working for Sting. I ended up working for Elton John. I worked for tons of celebrities.
I want you to take pictures of me with the same camera you took pictures of those people, Michael. That's what I want. All right.
I promise you, I'll definitely make you, I'll get you that. I'll do that.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. Look, it ain't about falling down 7 times. You just got to get up on that 8th. It ain't about falling down 100 times. Got to get up that 101st. Isn't that what it is? It's just about rising through. But what do we need in a lot of cases? We need support. We need help. And that's what this organization is providing for veterans. And that's what my new friends are talking about here on the show, Philanthropy and Focus. Quick break. We'll be back. Ed and Michael are here from Operation Warrior Shield.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Oh my goodness, what a funny song that is. We're back. We are back. This is Philanthropy and Focus. I'm your boy, the nonprofit sector connector. The organization is Operation Warrior Shield, and my two friends are Ed and Michael, and I appreciate you both being here. Ed, I want to go back to some of the programs of the organization. I want you to tell me about, when you've obviously, the organization was instrumental in collaborating with Canine Companions and getting a dog, getting Michael a dog. Connie, I can't wait to meet Connie, by the way, Michael. I mean, I was about to ask a question, but I got to say something. Just like the sense that these animals have, and that she knows when you need her, and she knows when you're down, and she just lets you know she's there. And I mean, it's incredibly special. I've had the opportunity to go out to graduation at Canine Companions, I guess about a month and a half ago, and it was just so special to see the families who raise these dogs and then put them in the hands of a veteran or a person with different abilities that needs some support. So, Ed, let's talk about that, because I know that the Animal Companion is one program, but let's talk about the programs of the organization, please.
Well, we have a ongoing working relationship with the David Lynch Foundation to, at no cost, we work together to train people in transcendental meditation, a non-religious modality that definitely is a proven modality that will definitely help. You don't have to have PTS to understand the value of TM, but we also work with the Doris Day Animal Foundation with a wonderful grant that enables me to purchase pure Labradors like Connie, get it trained for a few months, and where it's picked up by a wonderful veteran like Michael to help him overcome those short little problems that will eventually be gone because of that relationship. And we also have a working relationship with the Southampton Animal Society, which we get recovery dogs. So far we have given 9 dogs to 3 NYPD retired personnel who needed some big help, and a Vietnam veteran, an Iraq veteran, Michael. So we want to do more, and how we could do more working with these Operation Canine Companion is that people need to get a hold of me and tell me that you need some assistance. And even though we're going to try to have a waiting list of people that may want these dogs, they could call me directly. And if you like, I'd like to give my
yes, please. That's my next question. How do they call you directly, sir?
Well, I don't mind people calling me on my cell, which is 917-826-8497, 917-826-8497, or my email address, eschloman@AOL. But more importantly, come on out on March 21st.
Love it.
And you'll get to meet not
who
only
is
me.
it? Steakhouse. Ben's,
Yep.
Nick and Ben's?
Ben and Jake's Steakhouse.
Ben and Jake's. Don't go to Nick and Ben's. I just made that up. Ben and Jake's. Go to Ben and Jake's.
Well,
and where do they go to the website if they want to get a ticket to the I'll be there thanks to my friend MJ who's invited me as her guest.
Right. Well, it's the best is to contact me, eschloman@AOL, and we'll get you into the family and we'll get some things accomplished. But and again, I work very closely with NYPD Health and Wellness. The more I got involved with the first responders, and now, your friend and mine, Robin Canariato, we are jointly starting a first responder veterans program called firstresponder.veteransmatter.org. And we're looking to do an event in November 17th to benefit and we're hoping to get the Blue Bloods. So,
is that right?
Yeah, so more to follow on this, but
wow.
Yeah, this is where we're looking to go, and every year it gets better and better. And like I said, we only could do this with great partners such as David Lynch, Doris Day, Southampton Animal Society, and NYPD.
I love it. So talk to me about collaboration, because it's funny. You and I were in the same room and we didn't know each other at the event out in Russo's, a number of months back when we were there with Robin's organization, post-tour processing. And you just mentioned her again, and you mentioned Doris Day and obviously the David Lynch Foundation and the Canine Companions. Talk to me about collaboration and what it's meant for your organization. And as well, are there other organizations that you would look to collaborate with?
Oh, well, we always, I think there's strength in numbers, and that's what, I reach out to everyone. It's like praying the rosary beads, it takes 10 Hail Marys and 1 Our Father to get you there. And I remember a story. I was good friends with Miss America, and she was a big believer in Christ and God and everything. And I said, Kirsten, you got to learn this new thing I got, transcendental meditation. And she says, Ed, I don't need transcendental meditation because I pray to God every day. I said, that's right, but you don't listen. When you pray the rosary or you pray, you don't listen. And transcendental meditation, I tell you, you listen to yourself, you're going to come up with some ideas. And how do all these successful people, Jerry Seinfeld, Ray Dalio, you know,
Yeah.
and
I mean, isn't Jim Carrey is a big
Jim Carrey gave $10 million to the Maharishi Foundation.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, I'll be happy with 1 million.
Yeah, hey, Jim, listen, first of all, I love that man. He's had his own evolution. I've watched him over the years, and it really, really seems like a super, super thoughtful guy. Yeah, Russell Brand, who's very involved in
Russell Brand was another good friend of mine. Katy Perry. I hit 80 years old last September, and Katy Perry sent me a nice birthday with Russell Brand. I have a photo of them when they were married, believe it or not, at one time.
Yeah.
On my 70th birthday, both of them sent me nice cards. And on the 80th birthday, they just both sent me something. So I'm looking for them to send me something for my 90th.
I will send you something on your 90th. We'll all send.
I'm going to quit at 100. Then I'm retiring.
Good. Well, that's good. It's good to have intention. I don't know if we might not, unless we replace you. I don't know if we can let you quit, but we'll figure that out later on. I'll tell you though, I mean, sorry, Michael, just give me 1 second. I mean, this goes back, the Maharishi, you had the Beatles over there. You had many other folks go over to meet with him. And this practice, again, like I've said, I've studied and I practiced TM, and I think it's
Michael learned. He did TM.
Yeah. I think that I don't want to say I was surprised, but I said something to you right before we got started, Ed. I think I'm appreciative and grateful that is such a focus for you and the organization, because I know this stuff works, and we need to go inside sometimes, man. There's so much outside. There's so much here. I think we need to go.
Well, Robin learned also.
Is that right?
Hard to learn. And I mean, that woman, she's on the go 25 hours a day. Yeah, I can't keep up with her.
I can relate. Yeah. For sure. Michael, do you want to jump in before we go to a break?
Oh no, I just wanted to say, one of the things that a milestone that Ed just had is just 60 years of being married.
Wow. God bless.
Congratulate him for that.
That is, that's more impressive than the 80 years, maybe,
Yeah, well, Michael came to the reception. He met my family, and that's another thing that, we hope to do, is that the stress of wearing a uniform, and of course, they don't pay them enough in the military. And, and when you start fighting, when you're a young married couple and start fighting about money, there goes the marriage. And the same with the police officers. The divorce rate on the people who wear the uniform is just unacceptable. It's like 50 to 70%, and that got to stop. And hopefully we could do that. And when people tune in, Tommy, to your show, let them know we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, if I would meditate before I got into most conversations with some of the people in my life, I'd be better off. That's for sure. Because it's all about responding versus reacting. And if we just react, we're not always, tension is high, emotions are high. Sometimes we got to step away from the situation before we go have those conversations. And I'm referring to the divorce conversation you're saying. I mean, we need to be able to, when we engage with love and compassion to the best of our ability. But you know what? I can't change the whole world today, guys. We're just doing our little piece. So we'll break for a second. We'll come right back. Philanthropy and Focus. Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Back. We are back. Final segment of the show. And I just want to ask you, Ed and Michael, I mean, going forward for the organization, we know that March 21st is the event. Shout it out one more time, Ed. Where are we going to be? What are we doing?
Well, we're going to have some great boxing in the boxing world joining us. We also have a couple NFL players joining us from the Jets, I believe. And others will be there. You'll have quite a bit of NYPD higher ranking people, fire department people will be there. It's all going to be at noon on
March 21st.
March 21st on Ben and Jack Steakhouse on 44th Street. And people should just contact me at 917-826-8497 or eShloman at AOL, and we'll hook you up.
We'll hook you up. I love it. Love it. 80 years old. We're going to hook you up, man. That's how I talk, Ed. I say hook you up, man.
How you doing? How you doing?
How you doing?
How you
friend,
doing?
My friend Mick Collins, he's funny. He goes, Tommy D, what are you going to do? And I go, I don't know, Mick. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We do this back and forth all the time. What are you going to do? It's, it made me think of something. This morning, yesterday morning, I started my day at the Queen's Chamber of Commerce. And I was thinking that it makes sense to have some of the folks from the chamber really plug in. I have very good friends. My friend Brendan Levy, who's actually the singer in my thing.
Invite him, by the way. I forgot to mention that the mayor's office will be giving us a proclamation for the great work we're doing.
Love it.
That day. And we are, also we work very, very closely with the Department of Veteran Services, Commissioner Jim Hendon, and also Brooklyn Borough President Reynoso. I've gotten nice little grants from everyone. We also have Senator Adabo out there in Queens, who's a great friend.
Yeah.
So by all means, there'll be some politicians there too. And, when they come in, they don't talk anything but veteran.
I love that. I love it. We got to be part of the solution, everybody. We got to make this world a better place, and that's what we do together. I will be at that event. So Monty Barrett's going to be at that event, right? Monty was with us today. Zab Judah is going to be at the event. Tommy D is going to be at the event. I'm not a former boxer. I've never boxed in my life. That's just information that you might have wanted to know that I've never boxed. I think I'm going to get my friend Michael Goldberg to come through that day. Michael owns a company called Knockout Networking, and he's an amateur fighter. I texted him earlier and told him that some of the folks I was getting to meet through you guys and the relationships, and he was like floored. So I think we should get him in the room and some of my.
We want to get people that can make a difference. And there's so many 501c3s out there for the veteran world. Tunnel to the Towers. I mean, we've given 2 dogs to 2 smart home recipients from Frank, from Frank's organization, Tunnel to Tower. And, the bottom line is that we're all there doing one good thing, helping America, helping New York City, and helping those who need that little bit of extra help. And if you could come out that day, but if you can't make it, we have events almost every month someplace.
That's great.
I'm meeting Nicole Maliotakis March 15th to talk about how do we get more congressional assistance on what we're trying to do. And I was happy to see today that the VA has announced a $158 million grant for work just like what we do.
Wow.
So tomorrow, I will be looking at that grant and putting in for a lot of money to get 50 more dogs to 50 more veterans.
I love that. You're changing the world. Gang, listen, go to the website, operationwarriorshield.com. Ed has shared his contact info with you a couple times already. I mean, aside from that event, you say you have monthly events, Ed. What do they look like? What sort of events?
Well, what I do is we rent, Marco Polo's restaurant in Brooklyn. Like, Ben and Jack's now. I bring the show on the road.
I love a road show. Are you kidding me? What's better than that? And you can bring a dog sometimes.
There and this is the first time I'm asking for a small donation to offset the cost. But joining us are high-ranking police, high-ranking veterans. One of the guys we just mentioned before, Justin Constantine, he was my talking partner, going around the country speaking about, and I have to give one little word to the guy that really got me into this was a P-51 fighter pilot, Jerry Yellen. When I met him on the island of Iwo Jima, he was the one who introduced me to transcendental meditation.
No kidding. What year?
Jerry, in 2010, Jerry and I, and when he came back, he said, Ed, you got to learn TM. I looked at it, met Bobby Roth. Next thing you know, Jerry and I and Bobby Roth were traveling the country, speaking on all over the world, talking about the benefits of TM. Jerry passed away 3 years ago, and he was a big loss. But he's given me the inner strength to get this thing going. So hats off to you, Jerry Yellen.
Jerry Yellen.
Yeah.
Godspeed. I'll tell you, the guy that taught me TM many years ago, I had heard went over to the David Lynch Foundation. A guy named Harry Martinian. You ever run into that guy?
Harry will be at March 15th. Harry has been a great friend of mine since we got involved. And Harry was the first TM teacher that trained the 150 wounded warriors in 2011, heard Jerry and I speak. And at one time, right after one of these he was a young kid from Jersey City. He was a Puerto Rican a Marine, Lance Corporal. And that was the first time it really hit me that the work we're doing. He said, Sergeant Major, was really Chief Master Sergeant, but whatever you want to call me, just call me. But he said, Sergeant Major, before I met you, suicide was my only option. I mean, what payment back was that, huh? So
you don't hear it this way. You're saving lives, Ed. That's what this is about, though. That's how serious this is. This is serious stuff.
Harry is a great man, and
I look forward to seeing him. I haven't seen him in years. He used to run the center down in Garden City on Long Island.
Garden City, he'll be there.
Yeah,
and he's at all my events. Matter of fact,
I love it. I look forward to connecting with him.
These seminars we bring in the fire department. What they're going through today, but they were speaking at my event, and the health and wellness division of NYPD. And we always seem to get some businessman or another organization that will speak. So, and now look how proud we're going to have is two great speakers, the two boxes we have coming.
Zab and Monty, right? Zab Judah and Monty Barrett. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Awesome. All right, look, Michael, before we go, we're going to head out, and I want Ed to have the final word before I have the other final word. Tell me what you want to leave us with. Tell us about your website, the photography, the work you're doing, all that.
Okay. I've spent the last 37 years as a photographer, contributor to Getty Images. And I started off with Wire Image, and then Wire Image was acquired by Getty Images. And I was grandfathered into Getty Images. And I spent I'm like one of the only photographers that you can actually say that I started photography, I loved photography, and I was immediately thrusted into the entertainment industry.
I love it. We're out of time, so I want you to just shout out your website real quick or your Instagram.
Okay. michaelwattsphotographer.photo. That's
Michael?
MichaelWatts photographer.photo. It's my whole career. Enjoy looking at it.
I was checking out your website the other day, michaelwattsphotographer.photo, and Michael is MYCHAL, everybody. All right, Ed, leave us with something, and then I got to bring us home.
Well, I would really, once again, I want to thank you very, very much for this opportunity. I think that God is working his magic on us, and we'll be doing other things together. And when everybody hears tomorrow what we are doing, call me, because we need help. 917-826-8497. E. Schloman at AOL, Operation Warrior Shield, and let's make a difference.
Let's make a difference. Ben and Jack's on the 21st, lunchtime on the 21st of March. I will be there, and we'll have some celebs will be there. I'm excited about that. I'm looking at the website. The steak looks phenomenal, so I'm excited about that. We have some steaks together. Ed, thank you. Michael, thank you. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Go to the website, Operation Warrior Shield. If you need to get Ed's contact info and you didn't pick it up from the show today, send me a note, Tommy D at Philanthropy and Phocus, PHOCUS. That's how you spell Focus. Or grab me on the Instagram, TommyD.NYC. Make it a great day, everybody. Gentlemen, thank you for your service and thank you for being here.
Tommy, thank you. I appreciate you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.